For all the BMW nerds and keyboard warriors who love to say, oh, BMWs are so crap, the diesels are so bad, it's a horrible car, it's going to break down, you're always going to be going to the service station. Yes, that can be true, but only if you do not look after this 3-litre, 6-cylinder M57 diesel engine of BMW. Widely regarded as the best diesel engine ever built, the most durable. It's made to survive complete Armageddon. It will go and serve you until the end of time if you look after it. It's basically a detuned performance engine, so that's why with tuning chips or just simple little tunes you can easily take the stock horsepower, which is 241 brake horsepower, all the way up to 300. The point is the engine can take it, as this is a really good engine. However, and it's a big however, if you do not look after it, if you're not doing regular oil changes, if you're using it for small distances, if you're ragdolling it about all the time, this is not going to last. It is going to cause you massive financial problems. Everything that can will go wrong. You have to be careful with the DPF and the EGR. Make sure if you are buying used that the DPF is still in it, as you know, it's kind of legal, it has to be, it's illegal if it's not. This does have it fitted as well, so that is something very important to be aware of if you are looking at buying used. One of the most common issues with this car is the swirl flaps can break and wreak incredible damage onto the engine, so that is, yeah, not great. By far the best part about this car, however, is the fact that it's a manual. Manual 330Ds were very rare and still are incredibly rare. The 6-speed automatic gearboxes of this time were not amazing. They were good, but they are now and in the past 10 years have been prone to quite a few issues. So in the long run, this is a more reliable car, it's more driver engaging, and it's probably a better choice for somebody if you want to invest into one of these. The E91 body is a body loved by many enthusiasts thanks to its incredible proportions and these lovely angel eyes that this car in particular has gotten. And I think we can all agree that this is one of the greatest shapes BMW has ever made. The same with the E92 M3. It looks like it's trying to tell you something, but in a really subtle way. As you can see, the exterior begins with a slightly dog-like bonnet or nose of this car and this pretty nice aftermarket front bumper. I think it looks really cool. And if you come round to the side, you will find some factory BMW M3 E92 wheels, which I think is one of the coolest features on this car. As you can see, they are a bit used and a bit battered, but the owner bought them on Facebook Marketplace, so it is what it is. It's expected. And you will notice this is basically 2 rear rims. Well, you won't notice, but if you're a massive nerd with not much of a life, similar to me, then you will know the difference that the M3 had larger rims on the back than the front, and this has the same size rims on the front and the back. So it makes it that bit more special. This car sits really nicely, and that is thanks in no small way to the factory M suspension on the front and the KW suspension, obviously aftermarket, on the rear. Around the back, we've got slightly less exciting back end than the front end, although some enthusiasts do really like just the functional look of this rear bumper and rear setup. As far as functionality goes, everybody knows there's not much better than a BMW. With this opening up here for, you know, easy access to the boot, and then when you need access to the full massive amount of boot storage, there you have it, as it is, a Touring, with some little knickknacks inside with little nets and hooks that you can use, all for kind of shopping purposes probably. On the interior, there are obviously signs of wear. As on the steering wheel, you can see the leather's kind of been like already used. It's a bit crusty, so it's not brand new, but it's done a lot of kilometers. And then you have this, the little stick that nobody really knows what it is, except for people who can actually drive. So the interior is nice. There's lots of buttons. It's quite a simple design, very classic BMW. Obviously, you've got the orange kind of color thing going on, which BMW did, because orange is the best color you can see in the dark, which surprises some people. You've got the dashboard, very nice analog dashboard, as this is an old car, 20 years, a bit older than 20 years. but it's very nicely made, and the first thing you notice is you're sitting so low down. It's seriously, from the outside, like a family car, and from the inside, it is like a sports car. It does feel very low down, and these seats are helping that cause, as they are quite far back. But it's very comfortable, very nice. You've got these half leather seats here. Let's just get out of the way for this guy. There we go. So you've got part leather seats, which are aftermarket. These were the basic cloth seats, but they're very comfortable. They hold you nice, and yeah, the panoramic sunroof is still really nice. A lot of light in the cabin. It feels like a great place to be. It's a refreshing place, getting out of, you know, lots of screens cars, lots of not physical buttons, faffing about on the screen. This is really nice. Simple, you know what to do. It doesn't need to tell you. You don't need to read the manual 50 times. It's very obvious, very simple, very BMW, very good. Driving this car into town feels smooth, peaceful, easy and simple, thanks to the 6-speed manual gearbox and the 3-litre diesel petrol engine up front. It's a very comfortable ride with really good sound insulation. You really can't hear much of the outside world. Visibility is also pretty good, although I am making it look a bit difficult, but you can see obviously around the front, around the back, outside the back window. You can even see if there's any planes coming overhead. But it's truly a very simple car to drive, and it's very, very comfortable in the town. Fuel consumption is also something that's really good on the diesel cars, which is mainly why people will buy diesels, as this car does have nearly 300 horsepower with the tuning chip, and it still does about 6 litres per 100 kilometres on motorways where you're mainly going to be using it. Obviously, in the cities or in the towns, the fuel consumption is more around 10 litres per 100 kilometres, but it's still something that's really good. And if you're going to be doing longer trips on the motorway, it's completely fine. It's really good, and it's mainly why people bought these cars. You can tell the owner of this car, the first owner, was a car fan, was an enthusiast, because if you're not, you don't get this car in a manual, you just get an auto. It's just, you know, for flinging about every day in the city, going down the motorway. It's not something you need a manual for, but you can tell that this person really appreciated driving and really appreciated how good BMW used to make manual cars and still do. Please, nobody hate on me, I really like BMW, but they don't make enough. The BMW E91 330D is the car that your dad had when you were a kid, and you couldn't fully appreciate the manual, the power. You couldn't appreciate anything. You thought it was just, oh, it's just another touring. But that is not the case. Now that I've grown up, I can fully appreciate the fact of how good this car is. It's one of those cars where you can feel the mechanical connection between you and the drivetrain and the gearbox and the gas pedal. You can feel every single thing. You can control everything. It's the ultimate connection between man and machine, and that is something that BMW and new car makers are really missing the plot on in these new cars. Most BMW fans will know this car shares the platform with the E92 M3, meaning it's got 50-50 weight distribution, all the power going to the rear wheels. It's definitely a really fun car down some twisty roads as well. And with it being a touring, having some more weight in the back, you know that means fun in the snow, fun in the rain, fun in some roundabouts. So it's definitely a car that wants you to have fun with it, but in a kind of low-key, formal way. With almost 600 Newton meters of torque, if you put your foot down, we're at third gear, 50 kilometers an hour, foot flat to the floor, feel the turbos kick in, and that is power. That is enough power for anything, any day. It's staggering the amount of power these cars have. It really catches you by surprise because you don't expect it. When you sit inside, it doesn't feel like a fast car. It doesn't particularly look like a fast car unless you know what you're looking at. But the torque in these diesel BMWs is what really does them the favors. On the stock form of this car, BMW quoted a 0 to 100 kilometers an hour of around 7 seconds. With this slight tune pushing it up to 270, 280 horsepower, you can expect, oh, there goes the receiver. You can expect roughly 6 seconds, 6.5. So it's really plenty fast. It's definitely not an underpowered car. You're going to have all the power in the world that you need for overtaking on the motorway, or overtaking in town, or doing donuts, or going even on track. If you're really crazy, you'd take a 330D touring on track. Something to note which makes it feel extra sporty in my opinion is the clutch travels quite long, so it feels like you're kind of kicking a racehorse when you want to downshift or upshift. So it's kind of like you give it some gas, kick the clutch, put the gear back up in third. It's quite a nice feeling. It's like completing kind of a ritual or something. So it's very, very cool. And you can hear the kind of turbo noises spool up in the background whenever you give it some gas. So it's really quite a sleeper car. Multi-link rear suspension also gives you supreme drive feel. It's before BMW isolated the car from the human, the machine from the human. I mean, it does feel so connected in their new cars. I have sat in a few, and there are a few reviews you might want to check out of the new BMWs. It feels quite isolated compared to this. It's not as raw. It doesn't feel like the car's talking to you, communicating to you. It's just kind of, it's doing its job really well. The new cars, they're absolutely fantastic, but they're not communicative. They're not driver focused enough, in my opinion. A few days ago, Frank van Meel, the head of BMW M, said that they probably won't continue upgrading their manual gearboxes, so they will have manuals in years to come. You know, the M2, Z4, although that will be saying a very, very hard farewell at the end of 2026, the Z4. But BMW will continue to make manuals. However, it's not going to last forever, sadly. So this is a car to appreciate where it all sort of peaked, in my opinion. So, who do I recommend this car for? It's not for someone who can neglect it. It doesn't like being neglected. You need to pay attention to it. You need to spend money on it. It's a car that reminds us of the past, of why we got into cars, of manuals, of rear-wheel drive, of being silly on roundabouts, spinning, drifting, sliding. It's something you need to be proud of and you need to cherish. You need to put it out on the car shows. You need to take it to special events. You need to show the world that it's a gem, what you have here. It's one of the last, it's one of the rarest. So if you are interested in it, make sure to check the link out in my bio, in the description down below. Hit up the owner, hit up me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, wherever. Please let me know if you are interested. And if you did enjoy this video as much as I enjoyed driving this car, please make sure to subscribe, as 99% of you watching are not subscribed. So please do me a favor and subscribe. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I'll see you next week.